Hello everyone and welcome. I'm VelvettB and thanks for joining me today for a game pack rank. So we are going to be ranking the game packs in The Sims 4 and they rank from S tier, love it, A tier, great, B tier, good, C tier, okay, D tier, meh. So let's see how the game packs all shake out. The interesting thing with this is that we have not had a new game pack in The Sims 4 since Werewolves was released in 2022. Can you believe it? It's been over 2 years since we've had a new game pack in The Sims 4. But I know that the game packs can be quite expensive, and I know it's something that not everybody has the opportunity to purchase because sometimes the discounts on these are pretty low compared to some of the other packs. So I think it's quite good to actually go through these and just really get a look back at how these game packs really shape up now that we've had a lot of time to play with them. So we are going to start with Outdoor Retreat, the very first game pack that came out in The Sims 4. So Outdoor Retreat came with a destination world. So this is the first destination world in The Sims 4 and it was called Granite Falls. And Granite Falls is basically a cabin in the woods camping vibe, which I thought was really cool for a vacation. And you know what? This was the first game pack that I ever played and I had a lot of fun with it. Like the gameplay I found a lot of fun to do. The pack comes with an aspiration, so you've got to go through and basically the aspiration gets you to explore the world and do the skill line, which is herbalism, that comes with this particular pack. So I think that's pretty cool. There is actually a secret part to this world as well, which I liked. So Granite Falls Forest actually has like a little cave that you go through and that takes you through to the Hermit's world. So there's a whole extra part to this world where you can go and it's all part of the aspiration, and I found it a lot of fun. So the build buy that came with this pack is okay, like it's pretty limited, but it does have some nice rustic kind of clutter and bits and pieces to it. I feel like it doesn't really gel well with today's packs in terms of like some of the wood colors and the wood grains and bits and pieces like that. So it is something that I feel like a pack that doesn't coordinate well with the current packs that we do have in the game. So it's kind of a bit off to the side as far as that goes, but there is stuff that I use in here quite regularly. There's some new plants if you're not into using debug and little bits and pieces, but it really, as far as build bar goes, is a bit average. As for the CAS, look, I feel like the CAS is pretty average as well. Like there's some okay stuff there that you might use. There's like the bear costume, which is fun, but it's all pretty casual and nothing really particularly memorable about it. So it's okay CAS and okay build buy. I feel like the strongest part of Outdoor Retreat is definitely the gameplay and the aspiration and the skill line that goes with it. So yeah, I feel like that's probably the strongest part of this. I think that the fact that you do get a world with it is great, and that it is a destination world. You can use that for a lot of gameplay, fun, storytelling, that sort of thing. So, you know what? I don't think it's great. I don't definitely not love it. I think it's a good, solid pack. So I think it's really middle of the road. Had a lot of fun with the gameplay. So B tier for me on that. So next up, let's take a look at Spa Day. So unlike Outdoor Retreat, Spa Day did not come with a world. So that was an interesting change, flip around. Thing with Spa Day is that it actually came with 3 different aspirations. So it came with self-care specialist. So this sim wants to make it big with monetizing wellness activities like offering manicures or tending the massage table at a spa. Inner peace. So this sim is on a quest to achieve inner peace. Although true harmony is sometimes ephemeral, what's important is developing tools to help mitigate negative emotions. And Zen Guru. This sim wants to share their mastery of wellness with the world and train a successor to pass on their knowledge. So you got 3 really solid aspirations that you could work through, and they're actually really fun to play. As for the CAS, I actually don't mind the CAS. at all. It's really good, obviously, for fitness and your athletic selections. So I thought that was really cool as far as that went. I mean, fairly not like an all-rounder kind of pack for Cass, but I feel like the selection that we got was much better than what we got in Outdoor Retreat, for example. And yeah, lots of casual wear, lots of sporty wear, which I thought was great. And I use this stuff all of the time, so I feel like it's got a really good, solid Cass offering. So with the Spa Day pack, you can do the wellness skill line. So, you know, you can do yoga, meditation, stuff like that. And I felt like the build buy was outstanding. So if you're going to be doing a gym or a spa, then, you know, you've got all of your stuff here. This is really fantastic for particularly community lots, but there's a lot of stuff here that I use all the time in my builds just for residentials as well. I love the aquariums. You know, you've got your meditation, you've got some more gym equipment. Really nice all around build buy pack. I use this pack all of the time. And the thing is, this actually also came with a new lot type as well, which is the spa lot type. So you can build a whole new type of community lot, which I thought was awesome too. So while Spa Day didn't come with a world, which I would have loved, I think that's, you know, that would have been awesome. I feel like I love this pack. I think the gameplay is a lot of fun, and I think the fact that we got a new community lot type and the build buy and the Cass, I use these things all of the time, and I rate this pack. I think it's great. So next up we have Dine Out, and Dine Out brought restaurants to the world of The Sims 4, dining out, running restaurants. So Dine Out did not come with a new aspiration, but it did come with the ability to run your own restaurant. So you get to run your own business with this, much like the retail career that we got with Get to Work. It's just sort of you buy your own business. But the Cass, let's take a wee look at that. So I found like the Cass, it's all about the uniforms. So I feel like it's limited from that perspective. It's good for you if you're looking for a uniform, of course, for your wait staff to run your restaurant. But yeah, I found like the Cass a little bit limited for this pack. So the Dine Out pack also, much like Spa Day, actually created a new lot type. So we have the restaurant lot type here. It's a great place to grab a bite to eat, and you have a few new items that you are required to have in this type of build. So as far as the build buy goes, it's pretty solid. Like, I use a lot of the stuff quite frequently, particularly like the plants. Those are a big thing for me, less so the tables, but the artwork, yes, use that all the time. The clutter, use that all the time. Yeah, actually, I use quite a lot of the build buy. I do build restaurants now and then as well, and obviously you want to go visit those if you're going out on dates and that sort of thing. So I think if Dine Out had been a little bit less buggy, it would have probably rated a bit higher, because I think it's been a bit of a problematic pack to play with. And because it was so buggy, I've actually never really gone into the whole restaurant owning thing in detail. I've done it a little bit, but it was just too buggy for me to get in there and to have a good go at it. So I think this is a good pack. I think the build buy is really good. I think the restaurant thing is good. I think owning your business, as long as it's working okay, is really good. The Cass is functional, but yeah, that's kind of it. So I feel like Dine Out is a solid in the middle kind of pack. Okay, next up is our very first occult pack of vampires. So with vampires, we got a brand new residential world. This is the first time we got a residential world with a game pack. And we got Forgotten Hollow. So this is a small town of Forgotten Hollow, has remained virtually unchanged for the 4 generations it has existed. All of its original town founders disappeared shortly after the town was founded, all except for Vladislav Stroud, his great-grandson Vladislav Stroud IV still watches over the town to this day. So Vlad is the most famous vampire in the game. He's a character. So with Forgotten Hollow, you only got 5 lots. So we've got the 4 lots here, and then we have Vlad's lot up here, up in the distance. It is very atmospheric. It really has that vampire vibe to it, which I thought was really cool. I like the fact that it's all sort of misty and very remote seeming, and it's got a cool atmosphere to it. So the pack actually came with some new aspirations. First up, we have the vampire family. So this sim wants to create a family of vampires. Next up, under knowledge, you have the master vampire. So this sim wants to become a wise and powerful vampire. And then under popularity, we have a good vampire. So this sim wants to control his thirst and remain as human as possible. So like Sparta, we got 3 new aspirations with this pack, which I think is amazing. The cast is actually really good. If you're going with the occult sort of gothic look, I think you've got some really excellent choices with this pack. I think there's some really cool stuff that I do use quite frequently, and yeah, there's a lot of range as far as the cast goes. I like it. It's definitely on brand for the vampires. And here is Vlad, our most famous vampire. He's watching over Forgotten Hollow. With this with this pack, we also got a couple of skill lines. So one of them is pipe organ, which Vlad is a master of, and there's also another one called a vampire lore, so you can research vampire lore and go through a whole series of sort of different bits of information about vampires, but also it actually gives you some skill buffs as well, so it's actually quite a good little skill to go through and learn. The vampires have a whole different vampire thing going on here, so they have their own vampire thirst and vampire energy that you need to refill, so you've got to go through this in a really different way. And vampires also have vampire powers, which I thought was absolutely awesome. This was the first time we've seen this setup in the Sims 4. You will see it again with some other packs, but yeah, this is the first time that we got this, and you can actually create your different vampire powers, which I thought was absolutely amazing. I had so much fun with the gameplay with this pack. It was just next level, top notch. And then when we look at the build buy, this is very gothic, sort of Victorian-esque. So it's quite heavy drapery, quite a lot of heavy woods and that sort of thing. So the more traditional style builds, this is a fantastic pack. I use this stuff all of the time for different kinds of builds. I think it's really good, solid pack, suits the world perfectly. I think it's a really solid build buy offering with this pack. So, you know what? After I've gone through vampires, you know what I want to do? I actually want to move Sparta down to A tier. I'm sorry, Sparta, but compared to vampires, you're an A tier. Because vampires, S tier, love it. There is so much to this pack. Great cast. There's 3 aspirations. There is... Oh, you know what? You know what I forgot as well? There is actually some traits that you get with the vampire pack. So you can be on a dark ley line. You can be a registered vampire lair, and you can be a vampire nexus. So there's actually 3 lot traits you can add to your build. So there is so much on offer with the vampires pack. Yeah, sorry, Sparta, you're ranking down a little bit. And vampires, you are top of the tier. Loved it. Fantastic pack. Highly recommend if you're into the occult side of things. So next up, we have Parenthood, which is kind of quite different vibe from vampires, but that's okay. Now, this is actually a pack that I hadn't really paid much attention to until, I guess, about a year or so ago. And then it sort of got on my radar a little bit. So much like Sparday and Dine Out, we did not get a new world with this game pack. There was, however, a whole new system introduced. So I'm going to get into that a little bit later. But there was a new aspiration introduced for this game pack. So this is under family. You have the super parent aspiration. So this sim wants to be the best parent ever. So we have that there. So as far as the cast goes, I think it's okay. Like, it's probably one I use now and then. Like, there's some stuff that I really like, some stuff is a bit but the good thing about this pack is it did actually come with a good amount of kids clothing. So there's some additional kids clothing, which is really nice and always good to have in the game. So one of the biggest things that came with the Parenthood pack was the new character value system. So this came with extra traits for children, toddlers, and teens, and created a new value system for them. So they could get extra bonuses, I guess, if they grew up by achieving these particular traits. So if you go into your Simology panel, and here you have your character values. So character values determine a Sim's ability to adapt and behave effectively in everyday life. Each value can be positive or negative. So you have manners, emotional control, empathy, conflict resolution, and responsibility. And if you get these into the little zones here, you can sort of see the dark zones there, then you'll be getting a particular trait. So you can earn bad manners, good manners. You can earn uncontrolled emotions, emotional control, irresponsible, responsible, argumentative or mediator, or insensitive and compassionate. And those will affect your sim a little bit later in life. It's not one that I've actually played around with a whole lot. I'm just, because I kind of ignored the existence of this pack. Yeah, I didn't really play around with them up until recently, I guess, the character values. And even then, I haven't done them in depth. But I think there's a lot more to that character value system than I really give it credit for. Now, as far as the build buy goes, I love the build buy. Like, the build buy is basically my favorite thing about this pack. It is the thing that I would have this pack for out of everything. So I think that as far as the cast goes, okay. The new skill, parenting. So you can actually build your parenting skill. I think that's quite useful and actually works really nicely with the Growing Together pack. But again, it's not probably a deal breaker for me. But the character value system, I think that's one I need to explore more. It's something that can actually be quite easily overlooked. And yeah, a new aspiration as well. But the build buy, I love the build buy. I think it's an amazing build buy. I love it and I use it all of the time. It's really great for, I guess, slightly more traditional style homes. But, you know, it's kind of like that bridge between modern and traditional as far as the build buy style goes. So I think it kind of goes either way, but it kind of does have like the slightly more traditional vibe. And yeah, I absolutely love it. So where do I rate Parenthood? Well, Parenthood didn't come with a new world. The system I don't really use, but I love the build buy. So I think it's kind of middle of the road for me. It's good, but it's definitely not great. Right, next up we have Jungle Adventure. For the very first time since Outdoor Retreat, we had a new destination world in the game, Salvadorada. And this is a gorgeous world. I mean, look at this world. You can come here on holiday and have an amazing time and actually some amazing adventures. You get quite a few lots with this. So you've got 7 lots altogether that you can change and create and build on and have adventures on, of course. Now, the world is very much a jungle. It is got like little ruins that you can explore. Very jungly. I think you can get basically creepy crawlies. So you can get attacked by bats and you can attack by spiders and you can kind of get bitten by things. So, you know, you've got to be careful out there in the jungle and make sure that, you know, you have the things that you need to survive out there in the jungle. There's actually quite an adventure to be had through all of these ruins as well. I had a lot of fun with that. I think it's a bit of a blast doing that to, you know, try and find some of the collectibles that are out there in the world. You can kind of explore this whole district. So you have this little question mark area here and here and here and here. And you kind of just end up going on this big adventure, going through and exploring different things and uncovering different artifacts and that sort of thing. So with this pack, there are 2 new aspirations. So under nature, we have the Jungle Explorer aspiration. So this sim wants to explore the jungle. And under knowledge, you get the Archaeology Scholar. And that works with the new skill lines. So you have 2 new skill lines that come with this pack, which is Archaeology and Salvadoradian Culture. So 2 new skills, 2 new aspirations, a whole new world, although it is a destination world, not a residential world. And there's a whole exploring the jungle adventure, which is very cool. Cast that we got with Jungle Adventure was actually decent. Like, it is kind of, you know, adventure-y, that sort of thing, but it is pretty decent as far as cast goes. You've got some full body stuff and you've got some pants. I actually use some of this stuff quite regularly. So, you know, I wasn't too upset by the cast with this pack. I thought it was pretty nice. So with this pack, we also got 2 new lot traits. So the first one was actually a lot challenge, and that's creepy crawly. So it seems that some creepy pests have taken up residence here. Be prepared, when they hit, you'll never see them coming. So this is actually a lot challenge rather than a lot trait. And you've also got a lot trait in peace and quiet. So something about this lot makes it great for reading. Sims understand more, so they gain skill faster from reading, and tense moods go away faster. So that's perfect for when you're on holiday, right? In a world just like Salvadorada, which is, you know, very, very stunning, very South American vibe, I feel. And we got some absolutely amazing build buy with this pack. I love this pack for building. I use it constantly. I love it. It is so good. It's probably one of my very favorite packs just for build buy. It's got some amazing plants in it. I love like the wallpapers and stuff we got with it as well. The wallpapers are incredible, like the tiles and that sort of thing, absolutely gorgeous. We got a really nice flooring with it. Incredible build buy, love it. Really solid, super solid gameplay, because we've got the new skills in archaeology and Salvadoradian culture. You can explore through the world. It is a destination world, but I think it's still, from that perspective, I think even though it is a destination world, it's still something that you can do a lot with, and it's really interactive, which I think is a lot of fun. I absolutely love this pack. I think it's amazing. It is up there with vampires. There is so much to do with this pack. The build buy is great. The cast is really, really solid. Really nice, actually. And you've got the aspirations. You've got new skills. There's so much to do with this pack. Definitely up there. S tier. Love it. Next up, we have Strangerville. So next up we have Strangerville. Now Strangerville is one of those packs that kind of flew under the radar for a while for me, and then I got it. So Strangerville did come with a whole new world. So welcome to Strangerville. The only thing stranger than the people is the flora. Strangerville is a quiet little town with a strange problem. The residents are very friendly, but at night things start to get more interesting. If you want to find out more about this town, you can find military personnel hanging out at the local bar, scientists researching at the local library, and that curio shop stand is sure to have some strange odds and ends by the trailer park. Now, the world of Strangerville is absolutely stunning, particularly up on the top here. Gorgeous to look at. And we have a lot of lots. It's a funny thing to say, but we do have a lot of lots. So we've got 5 up the top here and another 6 down here. So it's 11 lots total down here. And then we do have a secret lab over here as well. So that's a total of 12 lots in a game pack world. I mean, that's an expansion pack kind of world thing going on there. So if you have a look at the views of that, it's very deserty, absolutely gorgeous, kind of, you know, I feel like it's kind of got a bit of a Las Vegas, Nevada kind of vibe to it, and absolutely stunning world. Gorgeous. Love the world. I think it's absolutely amazing. The big thing that comes with Strangerville is the story based gameplay. This is the first time we've had this in The Sims 4. So it's very much a linear story-based gameplay where you basically go through and you follow the storyline of what's happening in Strangerville. And I tell you what, I loved it. I've played it through a couple of times, and both times I've had an absolute blast. It's amazing. When you arrive in the world, so as far as the aspiration goes, we do have a new aspiration. So it's under location. And then we have Strangerville Mystery. So you want to make sure that you have that aspiration on if you're going to go into Strangerville. And it's holding some deep, dark secret. And this sim wants to uncover why all the townsfolk are acting a bit strange. So you want to have that on for doing the Strangerville story. As for the cast in Strangerville, you know what? I actually quite like it. Like, it is, again, quite casual. There isn't too much as far as, you know, the formal kind of side of things go, but it's, you know, it's a little bit retro, it's a little bit funky, and it is sort of definitely a little bit more casual, and this is stuff that I do actually like to use, so I quite like the cast that we got with this pack. So when you arrive in Strangerville, basically the storyline launches. So welcome to Strangerville. The only thing stranger than the people is the flora. Soon after moving in, the town slogan is starting to make sense to you. Some of the locals are acting a bit suspicious, and there's a large number of military and scientists in town. Try asking people about Strangerville. They might be able to shed some light on this strange situation. So you get launched straight into the storyline, which I think is really awesome. There's actually, for the first time with a game pack, a new career. So that launched the military career. So it's all about, physical fitness and discipline. You have 2 career branches, which is officer and covert operator. With this pack, you actually also got a new trait, which is the paranoid trait. So the paranoid Sims feel the danger that is around every corner and that people are always talking about them. Paranoid Sims feel a sense of security while hanging out in basements. So that's their personality trait. So the build buy is a bit of a mixed bag. I think there's some items there that I use all of the time, and then there are some items there that I don't really use at all. But I do really love the windows, the fencing, and the doors. I think they're great. I like the bookshelves, the computers, the rugs, and the pictures and stuff. I do use those all of the time, but there are some other stuff. Actually, you know, one thing I really love is the training bot thing. It's really good for fitness. I love that. But there's some stuff there that I don't really use as well. This bed here is actually amazing as well. The bunk, cheap, and you get 5, 5, and 3 for it. Yes, please. So yeah, some really decent build buy. Not amazing, but pretty decent, like stuff that is super usable. So I love that. As far as Strangerville goes, it is all about the story. So this story-based gameplay, absolutely incredible. I loved it from start to finish. Fantastic. The new world, gorgeous. Building it all the time, absolutely amazing. The career military is decent. I think I've only done it once, but I did enjoy it. I don't like the paranoid trait, but that's just because I like nice traits. I quite like the cast, and I quite like the build buy. So you know what? I think Strangerville, definitely A tier great. I don't think it's quite up there as far as S tier, because if it had like really across the board build buy, I probably would have put it up there. But you know, it's pretty close, because I think the gameplay is like a lot of fun. And if you've never done it before, I think it's definitely well worth investigating. So next up, we're going to our next occult pack, which is Realm of Magic, and we're bringing spellcasters into it. So I feel like Realm of Magic is pretty similar to vampires as far as its setup goes. So we did get a brand new residential world with Realm of Magic. So it's the quiet town of Glimmerbrook, may have more to it than meets the eye. So you can see here we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lots. So that's very similar to Forgotten Hollow, which also had 5 lots. The difference with Glimmerbrook versus Forgotten Hollow is that we do have like this portal over here that takes us to a whole other magical world. So with this pack, we did get a couple of new aspirations. So first up, under knowledge, we have the spellcraft and sorcery aspiration. So this sim craves a deep knowledge of the arcane magical arts. And then under nature, we have the purveyor of potions. So this sim wants to learn every potion's recipe and craft each one. So we got 2 new aspirations with this pack. As far as the cast goes, you know what? I actually quite like the cast from this pack. I think it has a really cool, like, occult, but like kind of modern-ish occult kind of vibe to it, which I think is really cool. There's some really nice full body outfits in this that I do use quite frequently, and there's a few bottoms there that I quite like as well. So you know what? I do use this cast quite a lot, which I think is the idea, right? So I think it's a nice cast. I think it's pretty decent. So the thing about this world is, you know, it's actually quite nice. It's decent. The lighting's a bit but you know, it's a nice little world. It's nothing amazing, but it's decent. Like the builds that we got with the pack were pretty below standard, to be honest, the pre-builds, but it's fine. You can just always rebuild them, which is the fun part. So over here we do have a magical portal. So let's go and have a wee look at the magic realm. So this is the world that we get with Realm of Magic. Like, you think, you know, that's pretty amazing. But then you see, like, there's some other areas over here. So there's, like, a spellcaster's alley. And there's, like, a little greenhousey type thing over there. So there's actually quite a lot to explore, and, like, a dueling area or something over here. There's actually, yeah, quite a lot to explore in this world. It's pretty amazing, this whole this whole portal area. So you can do a whole lot of spell research and meet different spellcasters and go through the spellcaster aspiration through here. Over in Caster's Alley, you've actually got some shops, so you can go and buy wands and brooms, and wands, tomes, and familiars, brooms and crystals, and potion ingredients. So there's a whole lot you can do in the potion sort of Caster's Alley and everything there. which is pretty amazing. I really love that we got that additional world with this pack, and I think that it kind of needed it. So much like the Vampires pack, you got the new needs section as well as the spellcaster perks. So you've got some different spellcaster perks that you can do. You can learn different spells, which I think is absolutely awesome. There's a whole lot to explore there, and some of them is actually quite useful. So there's some really fun spells there that you can learn, and very good, you know, there's like cleaning spells and bits and pieces there. You can have a familiar, which is amazing. Let's have a wee look at the build buy. So as far as the build buy goes, honestly, I like it. I think if I'm ever doing a magical style or a fantasy style build, Realm of Magic is actually a really solid build buy pack. There's not much there that I dislike, if I'm being really honest, and it's got some really nice wallpapers, so you know, fairly decent wallpapers. Like, I really like this tile, I use that quite frequently. The flooring, less love for that, but I do like the wallpapers, so that's kind of, you know, the main thing. And the objects there are a lot of awesome objects. We've got the cauldrons, we've got collectible items as well, as far as wands and brooms. And then you have, like, yeah, your magical artifacts there, so your wands, brooms, and orbs, things like that. So you can go through and collect those, which I think is really cool. I think there's a really good amount of things that are there and a lot of fun to explore in the Realm of Magic. I didn't love this pack as much as I love the Vampires pack, but you know what? I really enjoy a lot of the gameplay and all of the spellcaster stuff, learning new spells, collecting. There's a lot in this world. I like that we've got like a whole sort of portal world that we can go through, and you can learn all about magic. You can learn useful spells and do quite a lot with this pack. So I think it's A tier great. Not quite as good as Vampires or Jungle Adventure for me, but I think it's definitely up there, and it's a pack that I want to go back and re-explore. Next up, we have the very controversial Journey to BATUU Star Wars game pack. Ah dear, and this is probably the one that people are going to disagree with me on. So with the Star Wars pack, this again was a destination world. So it is BATUU, so this is a remote outpost on the galaxy's edge, which was once a busy crossroad along the old sub-lightspeed trade routes, but its prominence was bypassed by the rise of hyperspace travel. Now home to those who prefer to stay out of the mainstream, it has become a thriving port for smugglers, rogue traders, and adventurers traveling between the frontier and uncharted space. It was once a safe haven for those intent on avoiding the expanding reach of the First Order, but the struggle between the First Order and the Resistance has made its way to BATUU. So BATUU is very different from the other destination worlds in that you cannot build in this world. So that is a thumbs down to start with. No thank you. I like to be able to build in worlds, so this neighborhood cannot be edited, play a household, and use a phone to vacation here. So you can only get here via a vacation and with a sim. So we're going to come into this very shortly, but we're going to go into CAS and have a wee look at that. So we got two new aspirations. So we got the Hope versus Order. So on the world of BATUU, there is a growing conflict. This sim is out to explore Black Spire outposts and understand whether they should stand with the Resistance or the First Order, and Galactic Privateer. So this sim isn't about choosing sides. They're happy just mingling among the smugglers and bounty hunters on the fringe planet of BATUU. Earning a few extra credits along the way is just a bonus, no matter how they get them. So you did get two aspirations with that, which I think is really cool. Now, then it comes to the CAS with Journey to BATUU. I actually don't dislike the CAS with this pack. I think there's some really good usable pieces here for a variety of different things. So there's like some really good like adventure kind of gear. And I feel like it would actually work quite nicely with, you know, even going on like a holiday to Salvadorada as well. Like the full body ones are definitely more costumey and do feel a little bit more, you know, you've got like your Sith Lord kind of gear and that sort of thing. And, you know, you got some really good solid bottoms there as well. So, you know what? I actually quite like the CAS that comes with this pack. I think it's not too bad. So when you go on vacation to BATUU, you do get a little pop-up, much like you got with Strangerville. So while on BATUU, you will use a different currency called Galactic Credits and have a special inventory. Don't worry, your simoleons and inventory contents are safe at home. To get started, check your career panel for your first mission to help you get your bearings. So when you are in BATUU, you actually get a whole lot of little missions that you do. So we not only have like your aspiration that you want to work to, you get special BATUU missions, and through doing these you actually earn galactic credits that you can spend around the place. So there's different things that you can go through and do. Now, there are not many places that you can actually go in and visit. So one of the very few places is actually this one here, the cantina. So this is Ogre's Cantina. You can actually go in there and you can drink at the bar, you can meet with different people, you can have fun with the droid, you know, stuff like that. So you can actually get in there and do it. Most of the rest of the buildings throughout this world are rabbit holes. So what that means is that you can click on them, but you can't actually go in them. So you can request like things like a lightsaber challenge. You can collect lightsabers. So down here in your household collections, you can actually collect lightsaber parts and BATUU records. So this is achieved by scanning objects in BATUU to discover the secrets and lore hidden within its walls. So you can go around and do a couple of different household collections, which I think is great, actually a lot of fun. And you just need to go through and, you know, scan this Jedi temple. We can go over there and we can learn like the lore and bits and pieces about it. So I think that's fun. And then, you know, you can do things like that, scan the Millennium Falcon. I just wish that you could actually go in and do things inside more of the buildings. You know, you can order different foods. You have your accommodation here. And again, you don't even go into the accommodation. You just push sleep, freshen up, and that takes care of your needs, or you can change your outfit. So it is a little odd as far as that goes. And yeah, I really don't like that you can't build in there. But I tell you what, the gameplay is a lot of fun. World is pretty cool to look at. There's like lots to go around and kind of explore. But I feel like the interaction in the world and the fact that you can't go into most of the world is really a big disappointment. And you can't build in the world, again, a big disappointment. You can purchase droids, which I think is really cool. And they can be like your little buddy. And you can do different things with the droids, which I think is absolutely fun. So then you have the build buy. The build buy is... This is very mixed. I think it's a lot like Strangerville in the sense that there's a lot of real pack specific things. So if you're after, you know, quite a dystopian rundown kind of look, then there's some really great stuff here. There is definitely some cool stuff that I actually really enjoy using quite a lot from this pack. So I like the planters. I think they're great. We've got some hanging wall herbs. There's like some nice vases. Some of the lights actually aren't too bad. But my favorite things are from this pack are the wallpapers, which are great. Certainly for desert builds as well. Perfect for that. And then we've got some really nice flooring. So those are probably my two favorite things there. And I do love, as I said, the planters and a few bits and pieces that come with this pack. Very useful, but there's a lot of really good things for sort of rundown or dystopian style builds, which I think are really good. So I don't mind the build buy. I think there's some really nice stuff in here. So overall, how do I rate this pack? Well, I mean, this is tough. Like, I think the world is a real letdown in the sense that you can't interact with it and you can't build in it. I think the gameplay is actually a lot of fun and well worth doing. The cast is okay. The build buy is okay. So look, I think, yeah, overall, it should have been better and it could have been better. Absolutely. But I think, you know, honestly, Journey to Batuu is okay. I think it's worth getting it on sale. Cheap on sale, as cheap as you can get it on sale, like Christmas sales or something like that. I think, you know, definitely worth getting, particularly if you want to try out the gameplay, because there is a good adventure to be had there. But if you want to get it for the world or for the build buy or the cast, then I think, you know, maybe those aren't probably the best things about this pack. Next up, we have Dream Home Decorator. So much like your spa days and your dine outs, Dream Home Decorator does not have its own world. It's very much integrated into the worlds that we already have in The Sims. The big thing with a Dream Home Decorator was the new career. So you get to be an interior decorator. You have a whole new like and dislike category. So this is to do with decor. So you can choose for your Sims to like and dislike decor. And there's new cast and new build buy items. So I think that we should go have a wee look at CAS and we can talk about the new dislike and like category. So in the pick the preferences section, you actually have a whole section here in decor where you can choose which decor you like and don't like. So you can actually set up a whole lot of Sims with different likes and dislikes for your sim to go through and do the Dream Home Decorator career with, which I think is a lot of fun. And I actually use this for my renovation challenges when I'm creating clients. So I actually do use this section. You can also randomize it if you don't want to go through and select it yourself. As for the cast itself, I actually don't mind the Dream Home Decorator pack. Like, I will use bits and pieces from it. Like, it's not one that I go, wow, I love it, love it, love it. But I think it's fairly decent. Like, there's some really nice, cute little outfits there, and I think a decent amount of it as well, which I think is nice, particularly since it is very much a build by sort of focused pack. But I think we got some really nice, cute little outfits from this Dream Home Decorator pack. So the big thing with this pack is the career. So you can select the interior decorator career. So being an interior decorator is about two things: having a good eye for design and building relationships with clients. So once you have the interior decorator career selected, you can actually then go into your phone and go into your job section and check for gigs. And you can select just, some different room renovations, and you get more and more renovation options as you go on. You've got to do things like visit the client's lot, get to know the client, take before photos, enter build mode and make renovations, take after photos, and reveal newly decorated space to the client. So there's actually quite a lot there that you can do. I love this career. It's my favorite career. I will come in and I will do this career quite frequently as just like a fun thing that I like to do because it is my very favorite career. The problem with this is that this career is still glitched. So for all that I absolutely love this career, it is glitched, and please be aware of that. Particularly for me, I found when you do level renovations, when you have to do multiple level renovations, that is where it becomes problematic. It's not like not every job is glitched, and there are things you can sort of work around with it. So it is still very much playable, but it is glitched. So be aware of that. As far as the build buy goes with this pack, it is stunning. Basic items that are really good in modern homes particularly, and they all sort of they're modular, so you can bang things together and make things work together and really create a whole world. So if you're a builder, then I would highly recommend the Dream Home Decorator packs, because from a builder's perspective, this pack is amazing. So I think with this pack, because it is glitched, it does bring it down a bit. We didn't get a new world with it. I don't know. I just don't feel like it's complete as some of these other packs. But the build buy, because I'm a builder, I'm going to rate this higher than some of the other non-builder players probably would. But I think for builders, this pack is amazing. So I'm going to go A tier great, because the build buy is just so good. And I really, despite the glitches, still really enjoy the interior decorator career. I think the cast is pretty decent. And I think the like-dislike category with the decor is pretty fun as well for gameplay if you're going to be doing the interior decorator career. I think for cast and storyline players, that pack is probably going to sit down here about the okay mark. It's not really going to be for you. Speaking of glitches, let's move on to My Wedding Stories. So My Wedding Stories did come with a brand new world, Tartosa. So this is all about romance and scenery, and it's by the sea, and it's very Mediterranean feeling. And you actually got a really good, decent world. Like, I love Tartosa. I think it's gorgeous to build in, and it's really gorgeous to play in. And we've got a good amount of lots as well, 9 lots in total. So, you can have it as a destination wedding spot. You can have it as a honeymoon spot. It is really lovely, a lovely, gorgeous world, and probably the best thing about this pack. So there was no new aspiration with this pack, no new traits either. So we did get some cast, however. I feel like Dream Home Decorator and My Wedding Stories are kind of like opposite packs. I feel like My Wedding Stories is very much about gameplay, whereas Dream Home Decorator is very much the builders. So, you kind of got that flip side with the different types of sim players that are out there. So I feel like this pack is definitely more geared for people that do like playing with storylines and like to go through their Sims lives and enjoy the romance and the story of their lives, basically. So as far as the cast goes, however, there is some really nice stuff in here. Like these dresses and suits I use all of the time. This is probably the items that I use the most from this pack, the full body items and the dresses and the suits and stuff for guys. I think, you know, they're fantastic. So the world itself of Tartosa is absolutely stunning. So we have wedding venues that you can do. There's customizable wedding ceremonies. They are still glitched to this day. It was pretty infamous. Wedding ceremonies were an absolute disaster. This pack didn't have a good launch, and it is still problematic to this day. It still doesn't go particularly smoothly for a lot of players, the old wedding ceremonies. So just keep that in mind. It is still a little glitchy as far as that goes. You have wedding orientated events, so you can actually go through and create a whole lot of events related to weddings. And you can go through and do, I've actually done this and gone through and done all the pre-wedding things and like the post-wedding things, and, you know, like your bachelor party and your, you know, blah, 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 bachelorette party. There's new wedding cakes and flower bouquets, and there's also collectibles with this pack. So down in your collections area, you have messages in a bottle. So bottles with messages in them often wash up along Tartosa's Porto Luminoso, seaside shores. What sort of messages could be waiting inside? So you've got a little collection there that you can do with this pack. They become available when you are engaged. So you've got to have someone engaged in your household. So you must be engaged to get married. So you can start all of those. There's goals and rewards through that. So you can work through a whole lot of different wedding events, which is quite fun. I actually quite enjoyed going through and doing those parties, even though I'm bad at social events. You know, I think there's a lot to be said about the events, and that they just need to work is the problem. And then we have the build buy. I think the build buy is probably a little bit more limited than some of the other game packs that we've gotten. Just looking at the selection that we've got, I haven't had to scroll down. This is it. But what we did get is actually quite decent. I actually quite like the build buy from this pack. There's quite a lot here that I use quite frequently. I always use the tea sets. I quite often use like the lighting, the candle lighting, and the dividers are lovely. The curtains are actually really nice. The flowers I use all of the time. Like this divider here is absolutely gorgeous. So there's some really nice build buy stuff with this pack. So where does My Wedding Stories fall for me? Basically, I think it's roundabout good. I feel like storyline players will find this actually will probably rate that a lot higher because it's more for them, whereas I'm more of a challenge game player and a builder, so less for me in this pack. But I think there's some really good things about this pack. I think it is still glitchy, which is a problem, but I feel like they've fixed a lot of the kinks with that, so I think it's definitely improved on what it used to be as far as the weddings go, but just don't expect it to be smooth sailing. And last but certainly not least, we have werewolves. So werewolves did come with a whole new world of its own in the residential world. So this is Moonwood Mill. So once upon a time, Moonwood Mill was filled with bustle and sound of nearby lumber mill. Today, the town is transformed. The rusted shell of its former industry provide cover for a handful of mysterious denizens who sought out this wilderness-shrouded community, basking in its remote and anonymous nature. It's a place with a hidden history, and those who live here know that if you dig deep enough, you're bound to discover some fascinating secrets. So this is our third occult world. And again, much like the rest of the worlds that come with the game packs, or most of them anyway, you've got a total of 5 lots. There is no hidden world in this, but there is like basically a rabbit hole kind of underground world that you can go through and explore. So we have the new occult life state, which is werewolves. So you can turn yourself into a werewolf here, pick an occult, and you can be a werewolf just like that. We have wolf packs. So that is a new, it's not exactly a club, but you know, these packs that, you know, you can kind of join. So there's a couple of packs around the place that you can join. So we do have some new aspirations. So under werewolf, we have werewolf initiate. So this sim wants to unleash his inner beast and become a werewolf. You can go through a whole lot of different things with that, which I think is actually quite fun. I had a lot of fun with the gameplay in werewolves, I've got to say. Now, as for the CAS in werewolves, I actually like it. It's got like a raggedy kind of rundown look, you know, sort of transformed. you know, if they've transformed and they've ripped their clothes, you know, stuff like that. But I think there's a really nice cast in this. I quite like this pack, and I use stuff from this pack all of the time. I think it's really good. I think it gives you like some different options as well as far as your clothing goes, and yeah, I think it's pretty cool. So I give the cast a thumbs up with this one. I like it. So I feel like Moonwood Mill very much has a sort of a rundown in the woods kind of vibe to it. It is definitely very rustic feel to it. Definitely more run down than your average world, which I think is really cool. It's a different look, different sort of gameplay. And, you know, it's got like a little touch of industrial to it as well, with the old lumber mill and bits and pieces in it. So, you know, I think it's quite cool from that perspective. Much like the other occult Sims, you do get the different needs looking panel there. You also get your werewolf abilities. So again, much like the spellcaster and the vampire abilities as well. So same sort of thing there. And I do love that consistency that you do get between the occult Sims. I think that's really cool and does add quite a lot to the gameplay. And here in the social groups, this is where you get to join your pack. So you can join the Moonwood Collective or the Wild Fangs, and that is actually related to your aspiration that you get. So you can level up to Runt with your pack, experience a full moon, read werewolves books. So that's, you know, all about learning about, you know, your werewolves. You can do different things around the place as well as you get your werewolf skills up. And I really liked hunting for the relics, which I thought was a lot of fun. So you do have some collectibles that you get to find, Moonwood relics, with this pack. So we've got some collectibles there. And then looking at our build buy, again, I feel like we got quite a limited amount of build buy with this pack. Like compared to some of the other packs, game packs that we've looked at, you know, we haven't got quite as much as what we had with some of the previous packs. I think if you like doing rundown builds, then this is going to be a pack for you. Anytime I'm doing a rundown sort of build, which isn't that often, but every now and then I need to do that, and this is basically the perfect pack for that. It's just wonderful. It's got some really good build buy for rundown stuff. I use this rug all of the time, no matter if it's rundown or not, to be honest. And I use some of the, like this little decoration as well. I use that all the time too. And the plants, I use those quite regularly, and the planter and stuff. So there's stuff there that I use all of the time. So overall, how do I feel about werewolves? Like, I actually really enjoyed the gameplay for werewolves. I think werewolves are annoying in game outside of that, because they kind of have these rages and you can't really control them when they're in those rages. So I do find them frustrating from that perspective. But other than that, I really liked the cast. I thought the gameplay was excellent. The world is nice. Like, it's nice to have a rustic world that you can build in, because I mean, kind of the most rustic world otherwise would be Granite Falls, which is a destination world. So, you know, we've got a really nice rustic world there. I think the build buy is pretty decent as well. So, you know what? I think this is a great, actually, you know what? I'd say this is a great pack. It's not S tier, I love it, but it is definitely up there. I thought it was a really fun pack to play through, and it was really fun to explore being a werewolf and also to uncover the secrets of Moonwood Mill as well. So I think it's really good. To run through this, in conclusion, my favorite game packs in The Sims 4 were Vampires and Jungle Adventure. Spa Day, Strangerville, Realm of Magic, Dream Home Decorator, and Werewolves are definitely up there. Outdoor Retreat, Dine Out, Parenthood, and My Wedding Stories, you know, middle of the road. And then Journey of BATUU, I'm sorry. I wish I could rate it higher, but it is, like, I don't dislike this pack at all. I think the gameplay is excellent, but it's really just an okay pack. It's never going to be any more than that. Well, I want to say thank you for watching. Remember, put those opinions down in the comments. I'd love to hear what you guys think. And you guys have a fabulous day. Thank you so much for watching, and I will catch you in the next one. Bye-bye.